Hello and welcome back. And as I was flying back from VCF East last week, I had a list of things that I was really excited to get into as soon as I got home. And, well, best delayed plans of mice and men, VCF East had one more parting gift to give me, and that was a virus of some kind. It put me down hard. I don't think it was COVID. Very well could have been, but it could have been any number of other viral infections that go on and around these things. But either way, I was essentially bedridden for 8 days. And today is the first day that I've been able to kind of get up and actually get out of the house. And so I wanted to fire the camera up while I could and say, sorry, there's not going to be a video this week, which actually I realize is a bit of a paradoxical statement. That's a bit like saying this statement is false because this is in itself a video, but there's not going to be a traditional video this week. However, I didn't want to just make a video that said, sorry, there's not going to be anything this week. And I wanted to tell one really quick story from VCF East that I didn't get to tell in the video last week while we were doing it. And one of the things that we did at VCF East was on Sunday, we pulled out the Hawk drive from their Triad mini computer system, took it apart, cleaned the heads, which were fantastically crashed, and then got it all back together and got it spun up. And this took pretty much all day. It was like an 8-hour endeavor, and people were coming and going throughout that whole process, and it was just a ton of fun. So everybody that stopped by to hang out while we worked on the Hawk drive, thank you so much. I had an absolute blast. But there was a very special family that dropped by to say hi, and there was a young adult that approached me and said, hey, I found something really cool at a yard sale and I bought it and I wanted to show you and see what you think about it. And well, it was this. And at first glance, this looks like just a boring old disk pack for a Hawk drive. And I mean, well, that's kind of a weird statement. There are no boring disk packs for Hawk drives. Every one of these is rare and awesome, but this one is particularly special. It says, do not use all over it. And then it says, caution for CE use only. And the young adult that had this, his name is Christian L. from Connecticut. So Christian, if you're watching, thank you for this, because this is so incredibly special. When you are aligning the heads on a Hawk drive, you need to get them to a known spot. And that spot is defined by CDC using one of these, a customer engineering alignment pack. This way, every single Hawk drive that gets sold can have the exact same head alignment, and a pack from one Hawk drive can be used in another Hawk drive and read without having to realign the heads. Now, CDC didn't make very many of these because it requires a very unique process to write down an analog pattern on the magnetic material. And you don't actually read a digital waveform out of it. You hook up a scope probe and you read what's called a cat's eye. And we can see that the cat's eye head adjustment is actually written, its location is written right here on this sticker on the back. Now a little bit of it has torn off. We've got 00 TPI and 0 TPI. And this is 100 tracks per inch or 200 tracks per inch. Now if it's 100 tracks per inch, the head adjustment track is at cylinder 73 in decimal, and if it's 200 tracks per inch, it's at cylinder 146 in decimal. But there's one more track on here, it's called index to burst, and it's at track 5 decimal or track 10 decimal. And so this pack, as big as it is, really only has 2 tracks on it, index to burst and head alignment. And CDC didn't make very many of these. I believe Centurion only had 1 or 2 of these. So finding one of these is incredibly rare. Now, I would love to copy this pack so we have duplicates and backups of it, but I don't actually know how to do that because it requires, like I said, a very unique way of writing that pattern down. So we're gonna hold on to this. Christian, thank you so much for letting us get our hands on this. This is absolutely epic, and it's one more amazing tool in our arsenal for bringing these old big drives up. So we're gonna do a full video on how to properly align the heads on a 14-inch hard drive in the future, and this pack is going to be used for that. So that is one of my favorite stories from VCF East. If it sounded a little meandering, like my thoughts aren't quite put together, I blame it on all the medicine that I've been imbibing over the past couple of days. And well, I want to thank you guys so much for hanging with me. I'm gonna go climb back into bed, and I hope to see you next week. Thanks.